This is the 10th funeral parade of the day in Gaza. 15-year-old Haitham Abu Shaka is just the latest in a very long line of Hamas martyrs. The failure of the Oslo peace process and the Intifada has been good for Hamas. Its support has doubled. Here in their stronghold of Gaza, that support has reached 30%, edging out Fatah, Yasser Arafat's political party. Arafat did not provide his people with a state, and now Palestinians are embracing Hamas's radical Islamic ideology. Haitham's martyrdom is an inspiration to others. The Israeli military has delayed its expected offensive into the Gaza Strip. Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's policy of targeting the Palestinian Authority and Yasser Arafat has handed more power to Hamas. Tonight, we secure rare access to 4 out of the top 5 Hamas political leaders: Ismail Abu Shanab, Mahmoud Zahar, Abdel Aziz Rantizi, and Ismail Haniyeh. Together, they make up the Central Committee and take all decisions for the movement. Israel is now targeting them for assassination. They meet daily in secret locations around Gaza and have vowed revenge for Israel's offensive in the West Bank with a campaign of suicide bombings.
We will find ways to kill more numbers in your side. We do not have airplanes, we do not have chemical weapons, we do not have nuclear weapons to threat Israelis, so we do use our own bodies as a reaction to your attacks.
Nobody is admiring bloodshed, whether in this side or that side. But I will remind you that eye for eye, nose for nose, tooth for tooth. Within the last Intifada, more than 1/3 of the Palestinian victims were children. Some of them are 4 months as Iman Hajj. So they killed everybody. They killed the children. They killed women. And you can see, I think this question should not be answered after the massacre in Jenin. Massacre in Jenin justify every operation against everybody in what is called Israel.
Last Wednesday's suicide bombing by Hamas, which killed 16 Israelis at a pool hall near Tel Aviv, shows how emboldened and powerful Hamas has become. Yasser Arafat promptly went on Palestinian television announcing in Arabic that he would stop the terrorist attacks. His police force arrested 16 Hamas militants, but none of their leaders. In doing so, Arafat threatened his own position. Hamas accuses him of being an Israeli collaborator and is calling on Arafat to step aside.
How a Palestinian man will cooperate with his enemy to put his colleague, father, brother, neighbor in jail in order to satisfy Israel or to satisfy America. I think a new era should be established with new leadership.
And despite Israel's constant assertion that Arafat has control over Hamas, Hamas is determined to continue the suicide attacks.
أن الأخ أبو عمار يعني لا أذكر أنه تحدث هاتفيا مع أي من القيادات في حركة حماس حول تكتيكات معينة على الإطلاق. هذه مسألة يعني لم تكن.
Arafat knows he cannot seriously challenge Hamas's power. When he tried in December last year, it brought Palestinians to the brink of civil war. Under pressure from America and Israel, Arafat tried to arrest the senior Hamas leaders featured in this report. He sent hundreds of Palestinian police to do the job. But they ended up shooting at their own people who'd come out to protect the Hamas leadership. Hamas believes Arafat sold out the Palestinian cause by accepting a two-state solution with the Oslo peace process of the 1990s. Hamas does not believe in the existence of Israel, and to prove its point, it derailed the Oslo peace plan with a series of suicide bombings in the mid-1990s.
عرفات قال للمحتلين خذوا 80% من فلسطين وأعطونا 20%، ولكن رغم ذلك رفضوا ذلك. فيعني الآن نحن أمام عدو لا يفكر إلا في الحرب. كيف نتحدث نحن عن مشاريع سلام أمام عدو لا يفكر أبدا إلا في القتال؟
ما أجمل هذه الشهادة. قال الشبل همسا.
Hamas has always spoken with a clear vision. It has fought against corruption in Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Authority and is now seen as the real champion of the Palestinian cause. Hamas has tapped into the people's anger at still not having a homeland.
I think, as every Muslim thinks, that every inch of Palestine should come back to the lap of the Islamic side, to the Palestinian side. Believe me, if our generation failed to achieve this point, the next generation will do it. So sooner or later, we are going to establish our pan-Islamic state. At that time, Jews has the right to live here, but Zionist as a national, secular, foreign system will be eliminated.
Hamas was born out of the grinding poverty of the Gaza Strip in the 1970s and 80s. It built a parallel administration with schools, hospitals and welfare services, challenging Yasser Arafat's control. But Hamas also gained backing from an unlikely source. In his book, Israeli academic Shaul Mishal reveals how Israel fostered the creation of Hamas as an alternative to Yasser Arafat's PLO. It was classic divide and rule.
What Israel did is provide support to Islamic organization in order to organize their activity within the local population in order to gain its support, hopefully to get one day a good allies against the PLO.
Mishal says Israel's plan backfired in 1987 when Hamas announced it would take up a military struggle against Israel.
The question is not if you are ready to go to this kind of strategy. The question is if you know when to get out of it and maybe to form new coalitions. And in this case, I think what Israel did is they, maybe in a naive way, they try to build on something that probably, if you look very carefully, it cannot last forever. I mean, Islam and Judaism, Islam and Israel cannot last for a long time. You can use them tactically for a short period, but you can't build on it some strategic relationship.
Today, Islamic welfare societies associated with Hamas provide the only safety net in much of the Gaza Strip, where unemployment averages 50%. Without these handouts, the Al-Mazri family would go hungry.
تفضل يعني واحد بلاقيش لابنه شكل مرار يعني هذا لما يقول لك بدي يوم 1000 يعني بتنحرج كثير. يعني قبل كده كنت اروح يعني على اهلي بس انا اهلي بعيد في خانونس كانوا يدوني يعني انا واختي يدوني اما الحين حاليا ما بقدرش اطلع ولا انزل. قد مصروف لاولادي. كل من هي عند اهلها. اما حاليا الحين وضعي انا صعب كثير. اطفي الطنجره يا سمو.
The Palestinian Authority has little presence here, allowing Hamas to strengthen its hold on Palestinian society. Gaza psychiatrist Iyad Siraj says the rise of Hamas has more to do with Palestinian hopelessness than any Islamic agenda.
I'm saying that people need dignity, respect, they need security, and they need freedom. And if you don't give the Palestinians this, you're only sentencing them and the Israelis to death.
Siraj says a long history of defeat and humiliation has pushed the Palestinian people into the arms of Hamas.
Today, the model is the martyr. It is a form of power. It is the ultimate form of power. The power over death and life. In an environment of such despair, these models that tells you exactly what you feel, that life and death are equal. They are exercising it, right? So they become the models. And this is very sad. If you ask children now in the street, 20 years ago, they would tell you, I would like to be a doctor when I am an adult, when I grow up. Today you ask them what you like to be, you say, I want to be a martyr.
For many young Palestinian men, the mosque has become the centre of life. While they may all be Hamas supporters, only a special few will be picked by the leadership to become Qada.
Just before choosing the candidate from the mosque, we have to sit down with him from 6 to 2 years, teaching him the tradition of Islam, the essential basis of Islam, Quran, Sunnah, Islamic history, the fundamental basis of Sharia, which is called Islamic law. And the most fit people will be chosen to be member of Hamas. At that time, so we are picking up the most intellectual members in the society.
Abdel Aziz Rantizi, co-founder of Hamas, is the only leader who still makes public appearances.
ولا بد لنا من التعريج على ما يقوم به المجرم Colin Powell جنبا إلى جنب مع المجرم شارون ونقول لهؤلاء القتلة هؤلاء المجرمين هؤلاء الفاشيين شعبنا سينتصر بإذن الله سينتصر بإرادته سينتصر بعقيدته سينتصر بشبابه بأشباله سنلاحقكم أيها اليهود الغاصبون سنلاحقكم في كل مكان حتى تخرجوا من أرضنا صاغرين.
With Hamas gaining the upper hand in the Palestinian street, there will be no talk of peace. The leadership says it will not accept any deal that Arafat brokers with America.
يعني أمريكا لا يمكن لأي عاقل أن يعتبرها وسيطا. أمريكا منحازة انحيازا تاما للعدو الصهيوني. أمريكا تدعمه بالمال، تدعمه بدعما دبلوماسيا عن طريق الفيتو، تدعمه بالاف 16 والاباتشي والدبابات والصواريخ. أمريكا تدعمه بكل الوسائل، تدعمه
Ismail Abu Shanab an academic at Gaza's Islamic University, is the moderate voice within the leadership. While Hamas does not accept the State of Israel, he is pragmatic enough to consider a truce under certain conditions.
Truce, it means in the Islamic teachings that people live on the reality. And this reality is enough for the time being generation. Next generation needs to discuss things. If it is convenient to them, it's okay. If it doesn't be convenient to them, okay, it's in their hands. So now, for our own generation, we offer this. For the next generation, we leave them to decide for themselves.
It was Hamas that triggered Ariel Sharon's West Bank military invasion by sending the suicide bombers who killed 25 Israelis on Passover night in Netanya and 3 days later at a restaurant in Haifa that killed 15. Hamas sees these two operations as their most successful.
تطور في الخبرة وهذا شيء متوقع وربما المستقبل يشهد تطورات أكثر طالما أننا نقاوم.
But Sharon chose not to go after Hamas. Instead, he used the Hamas suicide attacks at Netanya and Haifa as a justification to destroy the Palestinian Authority. Analysts say by crushing Arafat and his Palestinian Authority, Sharon hopes to destroy any symbol and possibility of a Palestinian state.
Sharon, from the very start, opposed the Oslo Agreement, and he wanted to get rid of these commitments, which would, Israeli commitments and agreements with the Palestinians, which would enable the Palestinians ultimately to create a viable Palestinian state in the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem.
In his West Bank offensive, Sharon can claim one victory over Hamas here in the village of Tubas. When the Israeli army stormed this house and killed its 5 occupants, it went largely unreported. But the Israelis succeeded in killing Hamas's West Bank military commander and 5 other militants with him. One scrawled his name in blood before he died. But it is only in death that the commander's identity can be revealed. Unlike the political leadership, Hamas's military commanders are never publicly known. His name is Kayaz Adwan, and Israel claims he had a role in the Netanya and Haifa bombings.
هذه الحركة عودتنا وعودت حتى العدو الصهيوني أنها قادرة على إعادة بناء نفسها بسرعة. لقد راهن العدو عدة مرات على أن هذه الحركة يمكن أن تنتهي أو أن المقاومة يمكن أن يوضع لها حد ولكنه فشل تماما كما
These scenes of destruction and devastation at Jenin may suggest Sharon achieved his goal of smashing the Palestinian resistance. But the reality is different. Sharon's campaign has just created more recruits for Hamas.
بخلي الواحد يعني يتفعل الاستشهاد يعني يعمل عملية استشهادية يعني هذا الجيل اللي طالع يعني جيل يعني بيجي منكم يعني شديد يعني.
Hamas has already mythologized the Battle of Jenin, turning defeat into victory.
Israel at 67 succeeded within 5 days to conquer 3 countries. Within 8 days, they were unable to enter Jenin refugee camp, while the fighter, they were not exceeding 500 actually. So you can see how the spiritual level here are too much constructive for the Palestinian resistance than the Israeli side.
The people who were not already radicalized have become so. Muhammad Ali says he was not political until he saw an Israeli bulldozer pulverise his home.
هذا البيت إلي أسرة مكونة من 11. أصلاً البيت مش واسعنا إحنا وما كانش فيه مسلحين وبدت الجراف تجرف وإحنا موجودين فيه وصرنا نصيح ونطلع الأولاد من الشبابيك.
And with each body part that is still being pulled from the rubble in Jenin comes grief, disbelief, and eventually anger. These are the remains of a young girl. And this is what is thought to be her plait of hair. The exact death toll is yet to emerge. So far, the United Nations has confirmed 54 Palestinians dead. Human Rights Watch organisation published its initial report, saying 22 of those were civilians. It concluded no whole-scale massacre took place here, but says war crimes did. Aisha Wishali, 60, says his wife was shot by an Israeli sniper while they were hiding in their house. He then watched her bleed to death as Israeli troops stopped ambulances coming in to help her.
48 ساعة تنزف الجيش منعني 48 ساعة 48 ساعة وهي تنزف وانا اصيح اسعاف يا ناس مشان الله يا ناس مشان الله مشان دينكم مشان سيدنا موسى ولا حياة لمن تنادي هو كل يفوت برا ويصيح ويحكي كلام أكثر من اللازم.
It is inevitable that Sharon will have to confront Hamas, and this phase of the conflict may prove to be the most destructive yet.
Now Sharon destroyed all Jenin camp, occupied Jenin camp. What next? The Palestinians will continue the struggle. The Palestinians will continue resistance. So he did not solve the problem militarily.
Israeli bulldozers and tanks may have crushed Hamas martyr billboards, but newer and bigger ones are already taking their place. The first flag to rise above the rubble of Jenin was the symbol of Hamas.